Everybody is asking who replaces Azzi Fudd. Wrong question, because UConn's summer storyline is showing something way more dangerous. A team that might not need one single savior to win it all. The Huskies lost star power, yes, but what they're building now might be harder to guard, harder to scout, and honestly, scarier by March.
Prime Field!
What's up, Prime Field? Today we're breaking down why UConn's quiet summer grind might be the most important women's college basketball storyline that nobody's treating seriously enough. We've got the Azzi Fudd exit. We've got Caroline Ducharme moving on. We've got Sarah Williams drafted and then traded to Portland. We've got a Serbian guard, a French shooter, and a 6'5" Gatorade National Player of the Year walking into Storrs. And most importantly, we got Sarah Strong stepping out of future superstar territory and into full centerpiece mode. Stick around, because by the end of this video, I want you arguing with me in the comments about this question. Is UConn actually more dangerous without a designated go-to scorer? Let's get into it. Let's be real about what walked out the door. Azzi Fudd, number 1 overall to the Dallas Wings. That is not just a shooter leaving. That is elite gravity leaving. That is a late clock answer leaving. That is the player every defensive scouting report had circled before the ball even tipped. Caroline Ducharme, veteran leadership, championship experience, and 5 years of knowing exactly what UConn basketball demands? Gone. Sarah Williams, 1 year in Storrs, drafted number 33 overall by Connecticut, then moved to the Portland Fire. And even if her numbers weren't superstar numbers at UConn, her size, defensive presence, and tournament experience still mattered. So no, this is not some easy next player up situation. That is real production, real leadership, and real institutional memory leaving the building all at once. And normally this is the part of the video where I tell you UConn needed to go shopping for a portal savior. But here's the twist. They didn't. Ice Brady and Ayanna Patterson left through the portal, and Geno Auriemma did not respond by chasing some splashy one-year headline. UConn kept its core, returned 10 players from last season's roster, and added 3 freshmen, Olivia Vukosa, Jovana Popovic, and Dursus. That's not panic, that's restraint. That's a coach betting on continuity over chaos. Now here's where I want to make an argument that might annoy some people. Remember the 2026 seeding debate? On February 14th, the Women's Selection Committee had UConn, UCLA, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt sitting on the number 1 line. Texas was right there at number 5. Then 2 weeks later, on March 1st, Texas jumped into that final number 1 seed spot, and Vanderbilt slid down to number 5, even though Vanderbilt had beaten Texas head-to-head. That matters, because the lesson is not really about Texas or Vanderbilt. The lesson is about margins. At the top of this sport, October hype does not win you March positioning. 1 star does not guarantee committee respect. 1 head-to-head result does not always outweigh the full body of work. Depth matters, road wins matter, quality wins matter, identity matters, and that is exactly the bet UConn is making right now, months before the ball even goes up for real. They're not trying to win the offseason press conference. They're trying to build the kind of connected team that keeps getting better when the schedule gets mean. Let's talk about the woman carrying this whole thesis. Sarah Strong. Not the future anymore. Now she is the centerpiece. Strong was named AP National Player of the Year. She was also the unanimous Big East Player of the Year, Big East Defensive Player of the Year, unanimous All Big East First Team, and a major force in UConn's postseason run. That is not development stage language anymore. That is franchise player language. And the scary part, she did all of that while dealing with a nagging Achilles issue that limited what she could do physically. Reports out of June said Strong was rehabbing that Achilles and was being held out of summer team workouts, with Geno Auriemma explaining that she did not practice in March because of the pain. So the UConn argument is simple. If that was Sarah Strong compromised, what does Sarah Strong look like when the body finally catches up to the brain? And then there's Morgan Cheli. Cheli missed the entire 2025-26 season with ankle issues, but by June, she was back on the court and saying the ankle felt great. That matters because Cheli gives UConn a different kind of connector: size, passing, defensive versatility, and the ability to play between positions. Sarah Strong even said Cheli can play the post-play guard, and that she is going to be important for this team. That is the whole point. UConn is not replacing Azzi with 1 player. They are replacing the old structure with more options. Now the fun part, the freshman class. Olivia Vukosa is not just another big. She's a 6'5" post player, the number 3 recruit in the country according to ESPN, a McDonald's All-American, and the 2025-26 Gatorade National Girls Basketball Player of the Year. Her senior numbers were ridiculous: 17.8 points, 18.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 4.4 blocks per game. Listen to that again. Not just points and rebounds, assists too. That is why she fits UConn. She's not only a low-post finisher, she can be a hub. She can pass, she can read, she can punish doubles. Then there's Jovana Popovic, the Serbian guard. Popovic is UConn's first Serbian cine, a 5'9" guard from Verbis, Serbia, and she brings a totally different rhythm to the backcourt. Before arriving, she starred for ZKK Art Basket in Serbia, earned major league honors as a teenager, and through 5 games of one season was averaging 26.6 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 7.2 assists. That is not a passive international addition. That is a guard who is used to controlling games. And then Marine Dursus, the French shooting guard. Dursus is 5'10" from Strasbourg, and her resume is loaded with international experience. Gold at the 2024 FIBA U20 Eurobasket, silver at the 2023 FIBA U18 European Championship, and multiple youth-level medals. At the 2025 U20 Women's Eurobasket, she averaged 13.8 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. And the real UConn friendly number? She reportedly shot 41.2% from 3 in France's top league this past season. So what did Geno add? A post hub, a Serbian creator, a French shooter? That is not random recruiting. That is roster architecture. Here's the thing people are missing. NCAA summer access rules allow up to 8 hours per week for basketball-related summer activities, including weight training, conditioning, and limited skill instruction. That means coaches only get so much controlled time to build this thing. So where does the real chemistry come from? The players, the voluntary runs, the extra conversations, the freshmen learning where Sarah Strong likes the ball, KK Arnold learning how fast Jovana Popovic wants to play, Ashlyn Shade figuring out how Marine Dursus spaces the floor, Olivia Vukosa learning when to dive, when to seal, when to flash, and when to become the passer. That is the hidden summer story. Not who won a scrimmage, not who scored 20 in a closed gym. The real story is whether this team can build a language before November, because that is what UConn has always done at its best. The Huskies do not just run plays. They read each other. They anticipate each other. They punish one mistake with 3 passes before the defense even realizes what happened. And that is why the who replaces AZ questions is too small. Maybe nobody replaces AZ. Maybe the answer is everybody touches a piece of what she left behind. Sarah Strong becomes the centerpiece. KK Arnold becomes the emotional and defensive tone setter. Ashlyn Shade becomes the veteran shot maker and stabilizer. Morgan Cheli becomes the returning connector. Vukosa becomes the front court hub. Popovic adds downhill creation. Dursus adds spacing. That is not one star replacing another star. That is a system getting deeper. So here's my prediction, and I want you to hold me to it. This UConn team is going to spend the early part of the season being judged through the wrong lens. People are going to ask, who's the star? People are going to ask, who takes the AZ shots? People are going to ask, who is the closer? But by the time UConn gets through that early gauntlet, Michigan on November 5th, Iowa on November 8th, South Carolina at Mohegan Sun on November 25th, Duke at TD Garden on November 28th, and Maryland at Barclays Center on December 5th, we are going to know whether this is a rebuild or a re-architecture. And that South Carolina game is the real national temperature check. Neutral floor, rivalry energy, physicality, pressure, spotlight. If UConn looks connected in that game, the country is going to realize this team did not spend the summer searching for a new Azzi Fudd. They spent the summer making the question irrelevant. Look at other programs this offseason are chasing the next transfer portal headline. UConn is building a language before the ball is even tipped in November. That is either the smartest bet in women's college basketball, or it is a team that will miss having a proven closer when the game gets tight in March. And honestly, that's what makes this so fascinating, because this roster has 2 possible outcomes. 1, UConn becomes more balanced, more connected, harder to scout, and scarier than people expect. Or 2, when the clock gets under 2 minutes, everyone realizes how much Azzi Fudd's gravity really covered up. I genuinely do not know yet, but I know this. This is not a normal transition year. This is a blueprint year, so I need you in the comments. Is UConn actually more dangerous without one obvious go-to scorer, or are we overthinking this? And every championship team still needs that one cold-blooded bucket getter. If this breakdown got you fired up, smash subscribe. We get the full non-conference schedule preview coming before the Michigan opener. Drop a like if you think UConn's most dangerous team in years just walked in under the radar.
Prime Field.